active recovery, right? We can do during a week for a NPT test. Basically a workout that tops out at 70% FTP, low zone 2 heart rate in the week set. Just spin easy here, 2 minutes. Load some audio in a minute. For 2. Spin easy, no need to rush into 60 to 70% right away. Build yourself up to 60% power output. FTP. Low zone 1 to upper zone 1. First few minutes of warming up. I actually use these gloves. A little bit of a fabric on them. Wipe my face a little bit to have it. These are optional on an indoor ride. These do help with a little bit of numbness if you get to shift positions on the hoods. Handlebars up, down, drops. Here, 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 here. And you can still get them, but use prevent them a little bit. Zone 1.1, 98 beats per minute. Down here, and we'll have some audio. About to plug it back in.
Sports presentation of the fourth Ironman World Championship. There is a time, and there is a place that can crush them. But the possibility brings them to the here and now. Of swimming 2.4 miles. Biking 112. And then running a 26.2-mile marathon. They have been warned by those who came before.
You train on the course and you prepare yourself mentally for the battle, but you really can't get to that mental state until you
willing to go to that next level.
You gotta be mentally ready to get down to this place inside you. You've never been.
All right, mean set 60 to 70%.
It comes down to
Those two max.
how much you really want.
You go through every single emotion, and I think when you cross that finish line, it's worth it.
Race morning, and all is calm, except for 1,800 people about to bring the Ironman to life. There is a quiet anxiety brought on by unpredictability, and for some, it will be the toughest day of their lives. Like Tara Costa, at her heaviest, she is 316 pounds. Now she's almost half that, and about to put her body through the ultimate physical test. Professional IndyCar driver Tony Kanaan normally does this. Now he will power himself in his first Ironman. Not far away is an entirely different circumstance. The one of Scott Rigby, a former landscaper cut down by a horrific truck crash, now giving birth to a generation of dreamers by coming to Kona again. And then there's the professional story. Those who want to win. There will be a new men's champion this year because Chris McCormack isn't competing as he trains to make the 2012 London Olympics for Australia. And Andreas Rayler finished second last year, and 3 months ago at a race in Germany, he set the world record at this distance. To some, that makes him the man.
There's only one top favorite that we have. If we stand above everybody else, and this is up to everybody else, he doesn't have any weakness. So it will be pretty hard for somebody to defeat him.
Someone who could defeat him and is considered a favorite by others is two-time champion Craig Alexander, but the Aussie failed to three-peat last year and finished for him a disappointing fourth.
Anytime you take a bad beating, that's what I consider I got last year. It doesn't make you hungry. You don't own the title, you're just a custodian of it, but you said they get comfortable with it. And I had it for 2 years, and it hurt when I lost it. It hurt a lot. It's been a lot of months to get over it, and I'd love to get it back. I'd really love to get it back. To win again would probably be more rewarding.
Someone else who wants to regain the crown is Chrissy Wellington. The 34-year-old Brit is a three-time champion, but she missed last year's race because she was sick on race day. That opened the door for 30-year-old Miranda Carfrae to run through, and she did, breaking the marathon record on the way to the World Championship. Now, the top two women will be racing against each other this year.
There are no what-ifs over the result from last year, and nor should there be. There are no asterisks in my mind. No matter what I did that day, people were going to say, what if Chrissy was there? But, I'm proud of the performance I put together, and I think I did as much as I could possibly have done to quiet the what ifs.
But there's serious doubts surrounding Wellington. 2 weeks before, she crashed on her bike during the training run. It left a mark.
My first thought was, okay, we've got 2 weeks to kind of this relatively suboptimal situation to be in, and the second was obviously the pain. I was in quite intense pain. I was always determined to be on that star line, but I'd be lying if I didn't say that it added a new question mark over my preparation and a little bit of anxiety and nervousness.
There is plenty of fat to go around. Now it's time. For some, a first time. For others, a do-over.
you, and I hope I can bring my leg in because I'm going to need it.
As in years past, Chrissy Wellington unleashes on the bike. Fluid. Powerful. 17 out of the water, but that's changing quickly. Passing the field one by one. She's back among the leaders, breaking some hearts along the way.
I'm a fierce competitor. I'm driven as much by that competition within myself to be the best that I can be, and the competition to be everyone around me. Chrissy racing the way she has in the past few years has risen the bar for the rest of us women. It's exciting racing someone like Chrissy. I would be disappointed if there wasn't someone who you could really set your sights to really cater and performance on. But she's doing nowhere to bid before, and they don't know where it's going to stop. All of us are in the top amongst each other and train together. We're trying to figure out a way of how we can take her down.
So far, that hasn't worked. But Wellington admits after the crash, she's at 80%. That has to make her vulnerable, right? The leader in the women's race is Julie Gibbs. Third last year, her Ironman debut. The 36-year-old
Interesting how your heart rate goes up a little bit in narrow
So,
position.
how much confidence does she have
Maybe
in the fact
even
that
drop.
she's leading?
I'd be foolish to say I don't
Like
have
3
that.
feet, 5 feet
But I
higher.
can get all the way to the finish line without having anything.
Up ahead, in the lava field born from the fiery mounds of volcanoes, named Mauna Kea and Mauna Loa, the men make their way through 112 miles. The contenders all take their turn at the front. Because at this point, it's keep up, but don't run out. And the strategy comes from everyday life.
When you look at the gas guys, you hit the gas too early, it doesn't fuel very, very quickly. Now you spend that, it's still 112 miles. It's how you ride at 112 miles. It's a fine line of, you don't just drive the right bike.
set up
I want
this
to go in this
road bike on the trainer very close to the setup on my configuration for my bike.
You've got so much good
Saddle
stand.
it forward.
You need to be very stupid and you're going to spend it over the course of the day.
About
And I know
100%
stuff
back,
you need
but
to be race.
It's pretty close to get your package to this position for race day.
Nothing to say when you're not going anywhere.
The Queen K is the equivalent of a steaming cauldron. It represents a major obstacle between these athletes and the coveted finish line. There are a few signs of relief.
No need to get excited right now, though. It's active recovery day.
Tech support vehicle.
Weak.
The
But it can also be used as a recovery day workout. In
Produce
between your
a
hard
whole
workouts.
cycle.
Like your VO2 max, threshold effort, maybe set workouts before and day after. Sometimes you need 2 of these before you
The Ford Explorer
do a hard workout.
Ford Touch Technology
Following you want creepy.
allows the crew to respond quickly to stranded athletes throughout the bike course.
Now listen to your body.
Using a wide array of
See what it's telling you.
from broken chains to flat tires, getting marooned athletes back in the action with the
Sometimes it's
speed
not
and
good.
efficiency of a pit crew.
Do a hard workout in a fatigue state because you might botch the workout. It's good to hit the training specifications. Rest
Age groupers are what they're called. Some of their stories are
Really?
motivating, some are not.
It's not feeling like crap.
So where does being one of the best in the world at what you do now being an age grouper here fit in? Tony Kanon, Mr. 220 miles an hour.
I've been racing cars for 29 years. I know what to expect. Here, I don't. Everything is new. I'm a rookie. It's very scary.
sure you guys look at my face and race today. Probably.
I cannot. I'm inside my helmet like we do in this stuff, so yeah, definitely freaking out a little bit.
50-year-old Terry Green from St. Louis.
A friend of mine has been having to be back to miles, so I mentioned to him some of the symptoms that I was having.
I remember doing the colonoscopy, it was kind of in my mind thinking, oh my god, my God, what's going to happen?
But, Terry, I really don't know how to tell you this, but I didn't even get very far with the colonoscopy.
This is a thousand yes. I'm a cat movie. What you don't want to do.
We sat down with my daughter first and told her. And it was, I think anything was more difficult to do at the time until we've been diagnosed with cancer. And she knew she would take it really, really hard.
My mom and I are like best friends, so when I found out, I was completely devastated. I was numb. I found out, this is the last person I'm going to be spending with my mom, and I left their birthday with her, and all just the what-ifs popped in my head, and my mind was just racing. It was awful. It was absolutely awful.
She cried a lot hard in our first couple days, and then I said, you know what, we're just not going to take you out to one good out and fly just to everything like that. And the big party's over. That was our attitude.
Stage 4.
Changing positions. This is way back.
Chemo. Radiation. All while she was training for this race. It was her gateway to feeling that with all that was wrong, there was so much that was still okay with her life.
I found that my respiratory status is good. Cycling up a hill or running up a hill, I get short of breath and winded. But, I just tell myself I am so grateful that I can run up a hill, and it's not to run up a hill. So, if I have to walk every once in a while instead of run, that's what I do. This is like a dream come true for me. I guess it was when I crossed that finish line and think about giving my husband and my kids a big hug. I can't imagine what to feel. A sense of accomplishment, but to me it's just going to be a good thing.
As the men near the finish of the 112-mile ride, Chris Lieto is the leader. That's happened before.
Chris Lieto, no doubt can be in contention off the bike. He does it every year here. It's a no-brainer.
Yet the big bike lead strategy hasn't worked out in his past. Last year at this point of the race is where Craig Alexander lost his chance for a three-peat. Before the race, Chris McCormack got together with a group of the best riders and hatched a plan for 50 miles to go. The Ironman suddenly became a team sport, and Alexander lost out.
I just say, hey guys, why don't we stay with Brooklyn and form a partnership out there for 30 miles? The distance is ourselves, one of the things champion. Craig simply couldn't go with it. He didn't have the bike strength. Those guys rode the bike really hard last year. He just did not have the level that is required to go with those guys. Well, certainly to get beat like that, to think that, the guys are going to get together and pull their resources, but that's racing. Coming into last year's race, I won 2 in a row. And, the guys felt that I was that dominant and that's what it was going to take. I got what I deserved last year. We exposed the weakness in Craig, a real crowd player. And we'll see Craig out against professionals. But he's going to change the way he races. They think they can play the same game as you, take him in across and so Craig out again, it's not ready for that. But absolutely in that. Maybe our guys will be looking to exploit and maybe perhaps do again what happened last year, and that's fine.
for the Ironman World Championships.
Take off to the Cave Cliff Run Course. Chris Leato did his thing. 4 hours, 18 minutes is the second fastest bike ride in the history of the race. His problem? Last year he led the runners by 7:45 and was caught. This year, it's only 5:10. That's because Greg Alexander ripped it on the bike with the second fastest time of the day. Andreas Rayler isn't concerned with Leato, just Craig Alexander, and he's 3 minutes behind him. So Leato, the last thing he wants is that feeling of deja vu. One thermometer says it's 135 degrees. Julie Gibbons leading the women's race, knowing that her surgically repaired foot is soon going to be pounded for 26 miles. Chris Leato is once again in the lead of the men's marathon. It does bring back some bad memories.
The hardest year was probably the 9th because I was so close. And because I was running fairly well, moving well, and the wheels came off, gas went to empty. That was my chance. That was a chance that I was super close and I aced it and I just missed it. So finishing second was more difficult and I won't say haunts me more, but it's in my mind more than any of the performance that I had here.
As it was in 09, Leato was being chased by number 1, Greg Alexander, who runs about a 2:45 marathon. Leato runs about a 3-hour marathon. And therein lies the danger. And once again in the early miles, Greg Alexander is right there.
I like the Kurt Kinetic Terminator. He has this absolutely stoic look on his face. He's just expressionless. He's always got the sunglasses on, but he looks like he can just burn right through you when he's running.
The great ones recognize weakness and improve on that. Greg Alexander's bike time, 13 minutes faster than a year ago. In mile 8, that makes this possible. It seemed inevitable, and it is. Chris Leato is history. The Terminator did say, I'll be back. Absolutely everyone here is driven, wanting to squeeze the grape of life. And that's Joe Bastian. He's a father, businessman, budding musician, and wine expert. Still not enough. How are you doing?
I've done lots of tasks. This is my first full. I'll let you know how it goes. Good luck. All right, Jill. Call me, give me a forecast. Yeah.
Joe, good to see you again. Are you all right?
Make the time sensibility.
Okay, man.
Joe operates businesses on 2 continents, traveling between the U.S. and Italy to oversee his wine business. On top of that, he owns 22 restaurants across America with partner and chef Mario Batali.
I'm a restaurant man, which is a term that predates restaurant stores. So before there were restaurant stores, there were restaurant men. And that's what I do. I make my living running restaurants.
He was running around as a little boy in restaurants and kitchens, planning on right about this, my
a bike.
No,
And
this
nobody
anywhere.
has ever come off the bike in front of her. So nobody knows how she's going to react to that mentally.
She's the sort of girl that works on crowds. And knowing the crowds is really shameful that she's so far in front. So if you have a situation where all of a sudden she's not very nice, it's fine, but
Chrissy Wellington isn't the only one with deficit problems. Melinda Carfrey is 3.5 minutes behind Wellington. But Carfrey has the confidence of knowing that last year she set the marathon record on this course. Doing the math is complicated with so many names involved. Julie Gibbons has only run 2 marathons in her life. That and a bad foot complicates things.
I can answer it to a certain extent, but in the back of my mind, I don't want to do any more damage that's already been done. At some point, there might be a judgment call I have to make as to whether I should pull out for the long term, for my long-term health.
Pulling out is what Yvonne Van Gardner is doing. This is what she looked like finishing second 3 years ago. Now, this is her reality TV. Watching each step, you can almost feel the pain in Julie Gibbons.
students, as well as third and fourth grade, that have been taken from their homes to our schools. I'm the person that is teaching them basic, fundamental, like sport, something that my father taught me, how to throw a ball, how to shoot a basket. They never had that. And I am teaching them from such a young age. It's sad to me that they've never had that, but it's such a fulfilling dream for myself that it really helps them. I'm doing this race, so I guess, teach a lesson. If something's not going your way, or even if it is, take one more step forward. Take one more step forward. Hopefully, in life, they'll be able to take that one extra step.
Heart rate going up again in this position.
This is all new territory for Caroline Stone. She's in the lead of the World Championship of the sport she
Find
loves.
out when we get out of it.
And she has a 3-minute, 15-second lead over Atlantic Cape.
Heart rate, 5 beats.
And 1
45.
minute behind Cave is Chrissy Wellington.
A moment.
Then there's Miranda Carfrey in 5th. She's 9 minutes back of Stefan, but she knows
Still on 2 though.
miles is a lot to play with. Julie Gibbons decided
2.3.
enough was enough. That was curling. Do you know yours? That's what happens here. You reach it and somehow figure a way around it, or succumb to a body that says, you gotta be kidding me.
That's the thing about this race. We've seen it with the best athletes in the world that have gone too far. And it is scary, if this happens to you and put yourself over the edge, it can be mentally scarring for future races here. The key about it is because there's this mechanism in your head that just keeps saying, keep pushing, keep going, don't stop, don't stop. When that dark time comes, it's coming. I don't care if you're the biggest person on earth, if you're the most well-prepared guy, nobody gets to this race easy, and that's why you see the footage. Sometimes it's people whose bodies give up before their mind does.
Someone whose body gave up is Marino Van Holenhoven, who finished 3rd last year. He asked his body to go further and to go harder, and his body's answer was no. Craig Alexander's 3rd Ironman World Championship is starting to come into focus. His race and pace is starting to be historic. The course record is a real possibility. He has a 4:50 lead with 13 to go. He had the fourth fastest bike time in history, which helped him get here to his third title and earn entrance to an exclusive club of winners. And as he gets closer, he grits his teeth and summons a body that moments ago was cramping to create one last burst that leads to a record-setting time. It is that same body that somehow still has a leap of joy in it as well. A fitting hug from Dave Scott and Mark Allen at the finish. And at 38, Craig is the oldest to ever win the race. Pete Jacobs does come in second with his best finish on the island. And Grant
Not bad. Heart rate still
this time.
anaerobic threshold, zone 2.0. Not much cardiac drift.
Now the women's race is to be decided. Marinda Carfrey is
With that hydrating well, keeping myself well.
holds the marathon record. So once again,
Get the
it's
ambient
time for her to
temperatures.
show to a mental
Not too hot.
place where she says some athletes don't want to go.
You have to be willing to put that next level. Yeah, there are people that go out there and say, no, I'm just going to
Pretty stable environment.
And I think that those athletes are not ready to put everything on the line because they're scared. Those athletes never win.
I tell you my aerobic engine's pretty good.
Carfrey responds to the cheers and her own analysis. It isn't long before dividends get paid. She passes Leanda Cave for third place. Cave was simply left in the wake. Next up for Carfrey's late move is Caroline Steffen at second place. Steffen's game is headed in the wrong direction. And Carfrey motors by. Countless championships have died here in this part of the Queen K Highway. Now on the head, Carfrey's only problem is that this race for her is running out of miles. Holding the lead looks to have drained Caroline Steffen. She drops to fourth. Kate passes her, and Lena passes on the order of the day in this women's race. But no one will pass Chrissy Wellington. This is her day for a fourth time. And like Craig Alexander, now is part of a conversation including the all-time race. In 13 attempts at this distance, she has never been beaten. 13 for 13. Lucky and perfect.
That's done.
On the bike, and Caroline Sutton on the run. For the men, it was Chris Lieto leading on the bike, and Craig Alexander on the run.
5-minute cool down. Or more.
The Ironman crowns its champions in mid-afternoon. And from then on, you can see a line of triathletes from the finish line in Petaluma, all the way out to the love. Mile after mile. Midnight is the go. 17 hours to finish. Some need every second. Think about doing any one thing without one.
Yeah, I'm gonna finish. I've been cramping since about halfway through on the bike, and it hasn't stopped. The heat and the wind in Kona wins again.
It is why this is a place of legend. The most of the lives these people have heard about the Big Island, the heat, the wind, Queen K Highway, and then they live it.
It's been one hell of an experience. I've done a lot of things in my life, and I thought was pinnacle of stuff. This is it right here.
Scott Rigby runs to show military amputees they can still have an active life. At this instant, someone's probably being inspired to get up and go. Will Hollander, 81, pushing the limit. This is Ironman number 22, and if he doesn't finish, he says that's it. Starting to close. 50-year-old Terry Creed